What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Mental Health Monday. I am China McCarney, the founder of the Athletes Against Anxiety and Depression Foundation and the creator of Daily Mental Health. And I want to stay right there today. I want to define mental health. What is mental health? Because I think it's a term that we hear. I think like a lot of words, if you were here for the meditation video that we did on the channel, I looked at literal definitions. It's one habit I've gotten into that really helps me, because a lot of times we take definitions of words at face value. We put the label and the emotions and the feelings around the word that society tells us we're supposed to have. And mental health especially is such a stigmatized topic. I've dealt with that in my own personal battle, panic attacks, depression. And when you hear mental health, apparently the dog wants to be a part of this video today, which is totally fine because he helps my mental health. But when you hear mental health, you almost immediately go to like negative connotation, right? Or negative emotion, or, oh, something must be wrong. And I want to pop that bubble today with this video. That's the goal. What you can expect to learn in this video is what we get wrong with the definition of mental health, what mental health actually is, and how reframing the way you look at mental health can reframe the way you feel about your own mental health. Depression, bad days, sad days, good days, anxiety, panic attacks, and so forth. What I want to do is I want to look at some literal definitions. Like I said, if you were here for the meditation video that we did a couple weeks ago on the channel, I love definitions because they're the literal meaning of the word. So let's start with mental health, both words together. What is mental health? The definition, according to the American Psychology Association of America, mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Mental health affects how we think, feel, and act. And mental health also helps determine how we can handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. So let's let those definitions sink in quickly, because I didn't hear anything negative. I didn't hear anything about panic attacks, anxiety, people needing therapy, something being wrong with someone. I heard what mental health is supposed to facilitate for us, for humans, right? So if you look at the first part, what does it encapsulate? What does mental health include? It includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, right? Connection I'm going to make a lot in this video is to our physical health, because I think that's something we can all relate to, because we don't necessarily judge people for physical health, right? If somebody sprains their ankle, we would never judge them for spraining their ankle. We would feel like it's totally normal if they iced that ankle, if they elevated and they waited until they were in a good spot to go use that ankle again, right? There's no judgment there. It's just kind of universal accepted truth with physical health ailments. And we all kind of know, going through school, physical education, I think there's even a little talk of nutrition. Physical health, we know what that includes, right? Are you eating well, sleeping well, exercise, stuff like that to maintain a certain level of physical health, physical ability. And so I think if we look at mental health the same way, we can remove the judgment from the words mental health. Mental health just includes our ability for our mind to get things done, our mind to feel feelings, our emotional intelligence to interact socially. And that's right in the definition, includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. I love this little sentence because it's a little sentence with a lot of short words, but if we apply it to mental health as a whole, I think it's extremely powerful. Mental health affects how we think, feel, and act. And in my journey and doing the reading and kind of observing of my own brain, we think about something, it makes us feel a certain way, and then it affects our actions. That definition and that sentence to do with mental health is so powerful for me, because if you can take a step back and realize that how we think about things affects how we feel, which in turn affects how we act. That's why I'm such a huge believer in spending time in silence. But if you're a little more intentional and you reflect a lot on the way your thoughts are kind of being constructed in your head, we can work on how we think, which will in turn affect how we feel, which will in turn affect how we act. And if we use our brain for the positive and to our advantage, we can positively affect that three-step process. We will think better, which means we will feel better, and we will act better, which means we will get closer to whatever goals we want to achieve or who we want to be, what we want our identity to be. So that's mental health as a whole. But now I want to look at each word individually because it's fascinating to me. So you go to dictionary and you look up mental, and it's very simple. Some of the definitions that frustrate me because then you got to do more work. But mental is defined as of or relating to the mind. Like, duh, right? Has everything to do with our mind. So you go to mind. Mind is defined as the elemental part of us that reasons, thinks, feels, wills, perceives, judges, etc. And the psychology definition of mind is the totality of consciousness and unconscious mental processes and activities. So the mental part of mental health is the elemental part of us that thinks, reasons. It kind of is the filter for everything that we do inside of our heads, which I think that's very easy to understand. But again, I want to define mental health in great detail so that we can kind of see that there's this fake stigma around two words that has nothing to do with what they're actually talking about. So we can all accept and digest that the mental part of mental health is just looking at the mind and how it thinks, reasons, feels, perceives, and the totality of our conscious and unconscious, right? Because consciously we can think about something, but if we have trauma or dark roots in our unconscious, that can also affect the way we think, feel, act. And now health is very simple definition, which I loved. Health is condition or soundness of body and mind. So the overall condition, I think we can all understand that, the overall efficiency of our body and our mind. And again, if you draw this parallel to physical health, there's no judgment to someone that exercises. It's like, good for you, you're exercising, you're dieting, you're eating well, you're sleeping well. So with mental health, condition, so health is condition or soundness of mind, and mental or mind is the parts of us that reason, think, feel, will, or the totality of our conscious and unconscious. So we draw those two words together. The literal definitions is mental health is the overall condition of your mind's ability to process things, right? Either at a conscious or unconscious level. So mental health, again, I'm going to say it again because I really want this to be digested because it helped me so tremendously get rid of the stigma and the power of the words mental health. Mental health, by the literal definition of the words, is our overall condition and our ability for our minds to process, reason, think, feel, perceive, judge at a conscious and unconscious level. So physical health is our ability to do a certain activity, how we feel physically. So if we look at mental health the same way, it's just our ability to handle stress. Stress or adversity comes up. How good am I at handling that? That's mental health. I'm in a relationship and something's not going well and I want to talk it out. Emotional intelligence, that's mental health. It's your ability to implement your mind, basically, right? And the way I want to end this video is another definition that I think has replaced mental health. Instead of mental health being this thing that we don't judge people for working on, just like we don't judge people, like I said, for eating well, getting sleep, and exercising. If mental health was just something that we all looked at as, oh, they're going to therapy to get more skills, or, oh, they're meditating to get more understanding of what's going on in their head. That's just what mental health is, and that's mental exercise, therapy, talking, meditation. Here's the definition I think most people think of when they think of mental health, and that's the mental illness definition. Massive difference. Mental health and mental illness are not the same. Physical health and a disease, you don't judge, right? You don't get that confused. So let's squash that for mental health and we can have such a more compassionate and understanding conversation behind it. Mental illness is a mental disorder characterized by a clinically significant disturbance in an individual's cognition, emotional regulation, or behavior. It is usually associated with distress or impairment in important areas of functioning. This is perfection, and these definitions could not have come together better for me when I started this little side tangent project. Physical health, let's all just have that image of what we feel like when we're physically healthy, we're sleeping good, we have energy, nothing's really sore, we're feeling awesome. We sprain our ankle, we get a cold, we get a flu, right? That's a disturbance in our ability to do something physically, and there's no judgment there in our society, at least not that I've seen in my own life. In fact, a lot of people want to help those people. Like, oh, you have a cold, here's what I use cold medicine-wise, or oh, You sprained your ankle, here's what I did to get back healthy. So mental illness is just a disturbance in our brain's ability to do all those things that we talked about. Judge, think, feel, perceive. It's just a disturbance in our ability to mentally function. It's just a disturbance in our mental health. So why do we judge it so much? Because we're afraid, we don't know where to turn, and I get all that. But for the sake of this video, just think about that. The next time you hear mental health and you have that little twinge of like, uh-oh, no. Mental health's just physical health. We don't judge people for physical health. We want to help people get physically healthy. It should be the same with mental health. Compassion, grace, helping people function optimally in their brain, in their minds, and help them feeling their emotions, handle stress, handle adversity. That's mental health. I hope that mental illness component helped kind of draw that parallel between mental health and physical health. So start to look at mental health in a totally different way. You don't judge yourself or others for taking care of their physical health. Start to look at mental health the same way, and it'll change your life. As always, be the change you wish to see in your life and the world. That's this week's Mental Health Monday, and we'll see you soon.